Welcome back to Recap Lounge. Today we will discuss a thriller called Girl in a Box. Spoilers ahead. The movie is based on true events of a courageous young woman who finds herself trapped in a terrifying situation where she battles to break free from her deranged captor. She eventually reaches the point of obedience and submission.
Yes, master.
This suspenseful story of survival will keep you on the edge of your seat. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. Enjoy and take care. The movie opens with a man named Cameron removing a body from the trunk of his car. Despite his wife Janice's fear, he convinces her to join him as he drags the body deeper into the forest. He orders Janice to keep a lookout while he digs a hole. Once he finishes, they get back in the car and drive off. On May 17, 1977, a girl named Colleen hitchhikes on the side of the road. The same couple stops and offers a ride to Westwood. She shares that she's on her way to surprise her friend for her birthday, while Cameron smiles. It's a chilling scene that sets the tone for what's to come. The couple stops at a gas station, where Colleen goes to use the restroom while Cameron takes out a wooden box and places it on the back seat of the car. They then continue their journey and the couple decides to search for some ice caves further ahead. However, they soon drive off the road and the car comes to a stop. Janice becomes eerily silent and slowly exits the car, followed by Colleen. But Cameron captures Colleen from behind, puts a knife to her throat, and makes her his captive. Cameron blindfolds and gags Colleen before stuffing her head into the wooden box and closing the lid. The couple then sits in the car and waits until it becomes dark. When night falls, they drive off again and arrive at their home with Colleen still captive in the box. Cameron leads Colleen down to the basement where he ties her up, strips her, and tortures her. Janice watches this in silence, obeying Cameron's commands when he asks her to bring the box. Cameron forces Colleen's head into the box while tying her up on the table. Colleen is still in shock from the traumatic events and repeatedly asks why this is happening to her. Janice sits at the table looking gloomy and overwhelmed with guilt. However, Cameron assures her that they will send Colleen away after a few more days. Cameron leaves for work and Colleen's screams interrupt Janice's prayers. She takes a rifle and goes down to the basement to see what's happening. As she approaches Colleen, the captive girl pleads for mercy, but Janice just ignores her. As night falls, Cameron returns home with a portable potty and heads down to the basement while Janice is listening to music. He opens the wooden box and removes the restraint from Colleen's mouth, causing her to squeal in terror. Colleen demands to know why they're torturing her, but Cameron doesn't answer her and forces her to eat. She takes a bite of the bread and Cameron coldly states that he's doing this simply because he can. The cruel psychopath tortures Colleen once again and her screams can be heard throughout the house. As loud as the music is, Janice can still hear her screams. Later, Janice shares her concerns about what's happening, but Cameron tells her that she knew what she was getting into when they got married, so she has to follow his orders. Janice agrees to this but demands that Cameron never gets too close to Colleen, which he accepts. The next day, Cameron builds a coffin box and seals Colleen inside while attaching an air pump to it. The situation is overwhelming for Colleen, and she starts having flashbacks of her past where her father offered her fare for the bus, but she refused. Now she finds herself confined in the box, with those flashbacks repeating in her mind. On the other hand, things take a dark turn as Colleen's family receives a call from her friend stating that she's missing. They become suspicious and file a missing persons report. Since Colleen is 20 years old and considered independent, the police don't take it seriously. Meanwhile, Janice is pregnant with Cameron's child, but he's not too happy about it since they're still holding Colleen prisoner. When they return home, Janice's injured leg is revealed, and their neighbor inquires about it. Cameron lies and says that Janice has arthritis, and they enter the house. Inside, Cameron finds a slavery magazine along with a contract. He takes the magazine to the basement and forces Colleen to read it out loud. He then tells her a fake story about a slavery company that captures escaped slaves and inflicts unimaginable torture on them and their families. He claims to be a member of this company and threatens to turn Colleen over to them if she doesn't sign the contract. Amidst tears and fear, Colleen signs the contract. The next day, Cameron gives her the name Kay, demanding to be called Master from now on.
Yes, master.
He instructs her to address Janice as ma'am and obey her every command. Colleen is ordered to strip and raise her hands each time she hears the word attention. Though she follows the order, Janice arrives and demands she dress immediately. Days pass and Colleen is treated horribly like a slave. In September 1978, Janice is giving birth while Colleen remains traumatized and locked under their bed. She is eventually let out and allowed to hold the baby Amber. After this, Colleen is put back in the box as the days passes on. By March 1979, Colleen is working and setting up dinner while Janice puts Amber to bed. When Janice returns and sits at the dining table, she complains there is no fork by her plate. Cameron calls for attention and Colleen strips. He takes his anger out on Colleen, torturing her, only to discover that the fork fell from the table. Due to guilt, Janice runs to her room and starts praying while Colleen's screams echo throughout the house. Later, Janice expresses her insecurities and concerns about Colleen's potential to escape, but Cameron assures her that Colleen won't run away. To make matters worse, Cameron feeds Colleen a gruesome story about a previous slave who tried to escape and was captured, tortured and ultimately cut into pieces. Afterwards, Cameron takes Colleen with him to work while Janice watches on with jealousy. They arrive in a forest and start cutting down trees for wood. As Cameron chops wood, Colleen enjoys the fresh air and requests to meet her family. Cameron says he'll let her meet them once she's trustworthy, but Colleen insists that she can be trusted. Suddenly, Cameron accidentally hits his ankle and drops to the ground, groaning in pain. Colleen sees this as a chance to escape, but something makes her stay to help Cameron. She tends to his wound and continues to take care of it when they return home. But Janice enters and shoves Colleen away, insisting on treating Cameron herself. Later that night, Janice shares her jealousy with Cameron, and to resolve it, Cameron suggests that both women can share him. They try it out, but as Cameron proceeds, a teary Janice runs away and Cameron follows her. A fight breaks out between them as Janice claims that she's the only one working to make the marriage work. Cameron gives in and Janice demands that Colleen be put back in her box and he never touches her again. 3.5 years have passed since Colleen's abduction, and Cameron gives some leftover food to Janice to give to Colleen. Janice goes to the room and opens the box to let Colleen out. Colleen looks at herself in the mirror, seeing the devastation that has been inflicted upon her. As she crawls back, she is surprised to see how much Amber has grown, making her realize how much time has passed. The family then leaves for vacation, while Colleen is left in her box, lost in her thoughts and hallucinations. In one of her hallucinations, she talks to a priest who tells her that pain is inevitable. She then finds herself in a room with her mother, who is praying for her, but suddenly returns back into her box as it fills up with water. Colleen appears underwater, looking liberated and suddenly breaks out of the box. When the family returns, Cameron notices the broken box. He is relieved when he finds Colleen in the bathtub and sends her back to the box. He has a talk with Janice about going easy on Colleen, using a Bible reference to justify the idea of having more than one wife. Janice starts to accept Colleen and even invites her to the dining table. As the days go by, Colleen is finally starting to settle into a routine with the family. It's now March 1983, over 2,000 days since Colleen's abduction. She talks to Cameron about wanting to meet her family, but he says they'll think about it. Cameron also reveals that he was always into bondage, something that Janice couldn't handle, but Colleen can. As the days go by, Colleen and Janice get along well and even go to church together. Colleen is busy planting beans while Janice watches from a distance. She approaches her for a talk, but as soon as Colleen picks up a shovel, Janice quickly leaves as if she's afraid of the shovel. The scene then shifts to the women playing with Amber, but their moment of peace is interrupted when Cameron arrives and demands that Colleen make dinner. Janice steps in and says that she'll take care of it later, which infuriates Cameron. He takes Janice to the bedroom and begins to torture her. Colleen tries to distract Amber and eventually goes to the bedroom to comfort Janice. It's now been 2,310 days since Colleen's abduction and things are still tense within the household. Cameron gives Colleen some good news, stating that the company has allowed her to visit her parents. Colleen is completely grateful and excited to see her family. On their way to her parents' place, Cameron warns her to be careful of what she says because the company is watching her every move. Colleen assures him that she won't mention anything to place her family in danger. They finally arrive at her family's house and the joy is evident as they're all reunited. After saying goodbye to Cameron, the family sits down for dinner and everyone is in good spirits, making jokes and having a good time. Later that night, Colleen has a heart-to-heart with her sister Bonnie, who wants to know where she's been all these years and why she didn't make contact. But despite Bonnie's curiosity, Colleen doesn't reveal anything and goes to sleep. The next morning, Bonnie notices the worry in Colleen's face and tries to talk to her again. But just as she's about to say something, Cameron shows up early to pick her up. He feeds her parents the story that they're planning to get married, leaving everyone surprised and unsure of what to say. They pose awkwardly for a photo her mother is taking, and leave the house after they say their goodbyes. While laying in bed, Colleen and Cameron discuss starting a family. Even though Colleen is reluctant, Janice overhears them and leaves. The next morning while packing, Janice reveals to Colleen that sharing her husband with someone else was just too much for her to bear. She walks out the house while Cameron tries to stop her, but she puts all the blame on him and drives away with her father. The situation devastates Cameron and even though Colleen tries to comfort him, he takes out his anger on her. He strips her down and takes Colleen outside in the pouring rain and locks her in a box that he built. Later on, we see Janice praying excessively in a church while the basement fills up with water and Colleen shivers in the freezing cold. Cameron realizes his mistake and turns back, however, Janice saves Colleen and gets her out of the box. After offering her fresh clothes, Janice tells Colleen the story of another girl who was also abducted. Cameron tortured the girl so severely that she eventually died, and they were forced to bury her. Cameron returns to the shed only to find it empty. Janice took Colleen to a bus stop so that she can escape and have her life back. As the bus arrives, Janice reveals to Colleen that there was no slave company and that Cameron made it all up. This hits Colleen hard as she climbs onto the bus and riding away. It's a bittersweet moment as Colleen finally gets her freedom. The movie concludes with Cameron crying uncontrollably, realizing that his heinous actions will be revealed. Cameron was sentenced to 104 years and Janine was granted immunity. Colleen finally embraces her family after 2,640 days in captivity. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.